Welcome. You're watching The Big Question. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Donald Trump's latest immigration crackdown has struck at the very heart of Indian students' dreams to study in the United States of America. In what is perhaps the most sweeping and aggressive move of the administration yet, in the crackdown against international students, all new student visa interviews have been suspended. This effectively means that all fresh student entries into the United States have been put on a halt for now. It doesn't end there. The Trump administration is planning a comprehensive social media vetting for all new applicants, a move which signals a new era of surveillance to obtain a US visa. Since March, consular officers have already been checking the social media of students who joined pro-Palestinian protests, and the scrutiny has now been extended to all student visa applications. An internal memo from Secretary of State Marco Rubio has instructed US embassies and consulates worldwide to stop scheduling fresh visa appointments immediately, pending further instructions. Now, this pause could lead to long delays in visa processing and impact universities that depend on international students for income. More than 1 million international students were studying in the United States in the past year, contributing nearly $43.8 billion to the US economy. For Indian students, who make up nearly 30% of all international students in the US, the biggest cohort of foreign students, the move spells deep trouble. Now, Indian students have long seen the US education as the ultimate ticket to opportunity, to realize their American dream, which now seems under threat. Just a day ago, the US Embassy in New Delhi also issued a stern warning to Indian students, saying that even minor attendance lapses could cost them their student visa. The embassy directive read that visas can be revoked if students are seen dropping out or skipping classes without informing their school. But it's not just a single directive. The Trump administration is tightening its screws across the board. It has already revoked over 4,000 student visas in its first 100 days. It has made the rules around optional practical training programs and H-1B visa more stringent, policies that once allowed Indian graduates to gain critical work experience in the US. The administration has even terminated student and exchange visitor information system records. That's the official government tracking system, without which foreign students lose their legal status to be in the US. Indian students are at the receiving end of this revocation, and their visas have been terminated for minor offenses such as speeding tickets and parking issues. There is an escalating battle with Ivy League colleges like Harvard and Columbia, which have churned out some of the best Indian minds today that are leading some of the world's biggest companies. Look at the Indian diaspora, which is at the head of companies in the United States, whether it's a Satya Nadella of Microsoft, Google Sundar Pichai, or Shantanu Narayan of Adobe. With all this, Indian students are already exploring alternate options. Hong Kong, for example, has already called on the city's universities to attract top talent by opening their doors to those affected by the Harvard ban. They've said carte blanche: if you've been accepted by Harvard, we will welcome you in unconditionally. So the big question we're asking today, is the dream of Indian students studying in the US shattered, and should there be more opportunities for Indian universities to now attract that talent? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Advocate Gorangs Parekh. He's an immigration lawyer, Siddharth Iyer, Chief Operating Officer of One Step Global, and Ashok Sajjan, former diplomat, joining us on the conversation for that perspective. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Iyer, I'm going to begin with you. And just to put into perspective how big a hit this is.
Well, see, this isn't just US kind of hitting a pause button with the student visa applications, but to a large extent, it feels more like a kind of unsubscribed moment for students who were actually ready to invest in the American dream. They say that American education is one of their finest exports, but right now it kind of feels like a out of stock item, for international students, which is causing a lot of uncertainty with regard to how their careers will proceed in the middle of a storm. We are representing a couple of US universities ourselves, advising them with international marketing and recruitment strategies. I think all of this is going to be put on a pause till there's more clarity on the vetting processes. So till the time, a more direct student narrative issuance goes out, I think students will be left in the lurch, to try and find out
So
what
Siddharth,
can they do as
Siddharth, let's start with some context. How many Indian students are going every year? I saw 2023 figures was close to 2.5 lakh. Might have increased by then, or has it decreased? What kind of courses are people going for? And isn't the key reason that students make their way to the United States in hope of getting jobs there and then settling down and then getting an H-1B visa and then getting a green card and then moving up that chain?
You're so true on all those accounts. In fact, 2023 was that year where India overtook China with sending over 268,000 plus Indian students. And that was a 35% year-on-year increase just in terms of overall volumes. And currently, Indian students are almost contributing to $10 billion to the US economy. And this is through tuition fee, through living expense, and so much related spending. So the US economy is actually benefiting from Indian students and international students overall. US for international students has actually earned almost $40 billion with the contributions by international students. And not just that, when you were talking about skill gaps, OPT and job-based visas, in fact, OPT has grown to such an extent in tech, healthcare, and AI-based sectors that Indian students currently account to almost 70% of that overall population who are doing great work in STEM-based programs. And they are actually fulfilling those roles that companies in the US can't otherwise staff, with their own internal resources. And that's where international students plug in the gap. So this growth has been sustained and has seen a phenomenal rise because of US universities investing their time, effort in identifying good potential candidates who look up to a US education. I think putting a pause on all that is certainly going to hurt them. And it's like shooting themselves in the foot.
So too bad for them. Too bad for them. But, what is the opportunity for us and what do these students do? I want to come to Advocate Gaurang Parekh, because there are a lot of students who are either stuck right now in the middle of all of this. If, visas have been suspended, they want to get into the next term. If there are no interviews right now, what do they do? That question mark comes in for them. Really unfair. On the other hand, those who have dreamt of a US education, and if they can afford it or on a scholarship, what are the opportunities they now have? What should they look at?
Now, see, this time US have suspended all the interview dates. So they don't have at present any opportunity to schedule an interview with US consulate or embassies in India or anywhere in the world. And they can't apply for visas now, right now. It's a suspended, they can't apply for. The individual or students who already have scheduled their interview, they can go for interview, and that also interview is going to be very tough, and they are most probably they are rejecting all the student visa applications. Now they have another options. Either they have these two university which have branches in any other country, like say Hong Kong or Singapore or Australia or New Zealand. They can transfer their admission to those countries and start studying there. Either the US is going into a recession mode, and they are shooting their foot on their own. Their interest rate and our interest rate are gapping together. Instead of that, Trump administration is heavily targeting student visas and student applications. This is not fair. Student dreams are going to go down, and this is a very difficult time for the US and Indian students.
Students' dream going down is one part of it. The force that the Indian diaspora brings, Ashok Sajjan, I just want to understand from you how you see this panning out. Is this going to be another one of those policies which starts off but then hits the pause button? It doesn't make sense for any nation to pause a global talent hunt. I mean, look at what Hong Kong has done. The Hong Kong Education Bureau has come and said, we welcome all of you. All of you come here. Everyone wants global talent.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tamanna. I think it's a lose-lose proposition for all concerned. As your other panelists have said, it's a lose proposition for the Indian students or the international students who want to go to the United States for higher education. It's a lose proposition for the United States because, it generates so much of revenue as a result of these foreign students. You mentioned about they going on, full fee payment or scholarship. I can tell you that these days scholarships have come down very drastically. The cost of education has increased very starkly, while scholarships have come down very drastically. So they were earning much more. And then, as you mentioned yourself, Tamanna, that it is, big talent pool, and Indian students, when they go there, they are focused, they are hardworking, they are dedicated, they are determined, they are, they're very motivated, they're very inspired, they want to do well. So I think that is a huge addition as far as the technical and the talent pool in the United States is concerned. But you mentioned about Hong Kong. Now, Hong Kong also, I would say that the rules there are, it's getting increasingly integrated to China. So I will not,
Yeah. Suggest going
promote
there.
that as, I will not
No,
promote
that the
that
reason I
as,
brought that up, Ambassador Sajjan, is it's an example that Indian universities can follow. Why should
Yeah,
why should we not go out there to attract the talent pool? And then that's a very real question we have to ask ourselves. If we have brilliant students here, can we offer them the kind of education that they're hoping to get in American universities on par?
Absolutely. That is what I was coming to. That it is the Indian universities here, and also we are getting campuses of foreign universities established in India. We've seen the the Australian universities coming here, the American universities. I also saw an ad yesterday that Liverpool University from the UK is going to come here. So I think the very well-known, well-recognized names from across the world are coming to India. And I think this process will get even quicker. It'll get a fillip as a result of the decision that the American administration establishment has taken, because they will know that, at a fraction of the cost in India, they can provide this similar sort of, teaching environment, teaching standards, levels of, in terms of the faculty, etc. And they can do. And also, in addition to that, there are universities in Australia, in Singapore, in Canada, in Europe. They are going to get into high gear to attract these students, because they will also bring revenue, additional revenue. And we know that under the, the geoeconomic changes that are taking place. So I think Mr. Trump is providing a disruption in this sector also, not only in the trade sector. And as one of your panelists has said, it is, in my view, too, he's really shooting himself in the foot. It might be transient, but I think it will have done the damage, because that certainty and predictability would have gone away.
So a couple of things that we need to talk about, which is useful to our viewers here right now. And Siddhartha, let me come to you on that. So we know that there might be, as far as Harvard is concerned, maybe 800 odd Indian students who would be stuck. If all student visas are suspended right now, that number would be very, very, would be much higher as far as Indian students are concerned. What are the options and alternatives they can look at right now?
See, at least in ecosystem support, what Harvard has been able to do is that a federal court judge in the US has been able to put a stay order to ensure that Trump, doesn't take the next steps in order to affect those students adversely. To a large extent, I think the Harvard president himself has put out a notification that, look, you guys are family. We are here to help and protect you. And we have very robust student ecosystem who are going to help and advise you. Harvard, gets out the best lawyers in the US year after year. They certainly have that arsenal with them to ensure that they fight back, oppressive governments, who are putting out such policies, which are very arbitrary in nature. from what I have seen and understood, is that students are being very well communicated within the university campus on their next course of action, and they've been asked to hold, till the time there are formal advisory services that goes on from the student community sector. In order from kind of looking at, say, transfer based programs, in the middle of a US degree, it's going to be tough and challenging. It's not like other Ivy League universities, are waiting with open arms with tons of seats waiting to enroll. So they can certainly look at other good rank or similar ranked institutions in other countries, but that needs to be dealt on a course to course and a case to case basis. To map that out, I think getting advice from, say, in country reps or advisors who are there on US university campuses is a good way to go forward. But in large, I think till the time that this litigation, comes to a level of clarity that students want and expect, I would ask them, to certainly refrain from taking any further steps till there's more communication on those lines.
Should students start looking at options domestically? And are there enough good options domestically? And let's be honest here, Siddharth Iyer. I know we all want to say, yes, we have the best, we are the best. But let's be honest here, because we don't want to do a disservice to students who are watching this either. Do you think that there are good enough options now domestically to give that quality of education which will at the end of the day set up their careers the way they want?
In all honesty, I would say not yet. We are not there yet. To a large extent, there are a lot of Indian universities and institutions who are being very aspirational with good liberal arts programs and with great robust ecosystems that support the students, but there aren't just enough. In just the higher education ecosystem and capacity, even when you look at leave the rankings aside. Just if you look at capacity, you don't have the capacity for Indian students to fulfill good quality higher education ecosystems available in country yet. Ashokji very clearly pointed out that there are multiple, foreign universities setting up India branch campuses, be it with the UGC, be it at GIFT City, be it, with the Queen City in Karnataka, be it in states like Maharashtra with US universities coming in. But this will take time to come to fruition. We are yet to see, a good use case or a study where foreign universities can establish themselves well, provide robust employment and work opportunity support for international students coming in, not just from India, but from elsewhere as well. To attract top talent, we are yet to see that play out. And we'll get more clarity when we have that in the next 3 years time frame. But till then, encouraging more foreign institutions to set up their India branch campuses and establishing a good base, good innovation hubs in India is going to be, the theme for the day, given that immigration laws across multiple countries are being really scrutinized a lot. But if I were to also look at the flip side of it, do international students going to a particular destination country from India, are they going there only for the university rankings? No, they are not. They're going for the experience of having lived in a foreign country, for having met international students from so many campuses. So will India be able to attract so many international students out here on our campuses? Well, we could possibly do that when, say, Indian tourism increases.
My point is, why not? Why not? Why have we not explored that option? Gaurang Parekh, I want your point of view on this. And I would add one more thing maybe to what Mr. Iyer is saying, that people want to go to international campuses to interact with people from a lot of different countries. You have that cultural experience, you have growth there, and you also want a pathway to immigration. Let's be honest, it's a pathway to immigration.
Yeah, so whenever one student goes to US or say Australia or New Zealand or Canada, they carry them with themselves the whole family. Once he's enrolled as a student, then he enrolled as a H-1B visa holder, then goes for green card and then becomes a citizen. Then he can invite his or her parent or get married and invite his or her wife. So it's a long drawn lineup wherein student attract the whole family to US. They can invite whole family to the US, and if they are going to stop this thing, it's going to be a big problem with US, because they don't have the employees to serve in their hospital. They don't have employees to serve in their big companies, corporate companies, and they need employees from outside USA to serve their companies in USA. But if they are going to stop all this thing, they are going to face a lot of problems, and in turn, people and students have already started looking after Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. So this has become very difficult for them, and it's going to be a very tough time for US people.
Yeah, so forget about US people. Forget about US people. We care about in our students who want another opportunity. What are you telling some of the people who might be coming to you, Gorang, right now? What is your advice?
So at present, US is the best country for study. But after that, I'm advising them to go to Australia or New Zealand, because they at present provide good education, good facilities on the campus, research facilities. So this is the best country at present. Students are traveling to Australia nowadays. They have stopped traveling to Canada because there is a lot of problem in Canada. We have a diplomatic standoff between Canada and India. So students are not traveling at present to Canada, but their preferred destination at present is Australia.
Preferred destination is Australia from the point of view, Gorang, of the quality of education or the pathway to immigration once again? Would be very clear why people
pathway to immigration, not pathway to education.
Yes,
because education is the best in USA. Nobody can compare education with any other country.
The question is, what are you doing with that education? Okay, Ashok Sajjanar, I want your perspective on all the conversations you've heard so far. Is it a lofty idea right now to provide alternatives for the best and brightest minds? And hey, why just Indian students? Let's welcome the best and brightest from everywhere.
Yeah, you're right, Tamanna. I think that needs to be the objective. We shouldn't, meaning this is an emergency. This is an urgency that we have to set up. I know that, there have been discussions that have been going on under the new education policy. We are to get, higher educational institutions established. But I do sincerely hope that it will now be taken up, on a war footing, and there would be sort of, also on the part of the Indian government, Indian establishment, that we attract more foreign universities, not only for Indians, but also for the foreigners. And I think, as we see that the global center of gravity of the global GDP is moving towards the Indo-Pacific, and India is today the fourth largest economy, shortly going to become the third largest economy. I think India will have much greater opportunities. So, what our friends on the panel are talking about, the new experiences. I think the foreign students also would benefit from the experiences that they would be able to have in India. Of course, I quite agree with Mr. Iyer that we are not there yet. But still, I think we have great potential, great possibilities, and now great opportunities that are staring us in the face. So I think we need to proceed on that. But in addition to that, in parallel, those students who are not able to find their way into the United States at the moment, and the gentleman said about Canada, there is a new government in Canada. Hopefully relations will improve. I'm very sanguine about it, that relations are going to get better, and Canada will once again emerge as a very attractive destination for Indian students. So I think there is a temporary blip as far as this decision by the United States is concerned, but I think it's going to be more damaging and more harmful to the United States in the medium and the long term, both in terms of the revenue that they earn, as also in terms of getting the brightest talent that they are able to attract.
Do you think, Ambassador Sajjans, this is something that we should take up with the United States, or should our policy be then too bad for them? We get to keep better talent here.
Yeah, I think those who are in that particular bracket, those who have got admissions and are waiting for visas, I think we should definitely bat for them that, they are being shortchanged because they have done all the hard work, gone through all the procedures. But otherwise, and I think the United States hopefully would realize that the America itself is a land of immigrants, and they depend upon immigrants, and all their, when there is this contestation between the United States and China for dominance as far as technology is concerned, they need all the talent that they can get rather than pushing them out of consideration. So I think these are the sort of thoughts and ideas that need to be brought to the United States, because I can understand where they're coming from as far as Harvard is concerned, this anti-Semitism, this, that. But then you are throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There's this problem. Okay, if the establishment feels that is a problem, take care of it, but not.
And also the extent to which you are cutting down. You're telling students, if you cut class, we'll cancel your visa.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this a proportionate response?
Absolutely. And, due process of law needs to be followed in this. And here it seems to be just executive action, executive order without any sort of, reprieve as far as the affected party, that is the students, are concerned.
My question, and thank you to all of you for joining us, my question really to Indian students, is there any point spending your hard-earned money of your parents at a forex loss, taking an expensive loan to go and experience something in a country which doesn't seem to want you? Is that really the best idea at this point? Something which I suppose students from India also have to consider. Where do the opportunities lie? Where is the growth story? And is it not right here in India? With that, it's a wrap on this edition of The Big Question. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us.